In your second video, Sara will take a look at a pathing suggestion for around the head area of the bird, and then we'll spend a little bit of time looking at how making motifs and using motifs is an efficient way of spending your digitizing time. And then finally we'll look at a suggestion as to how those motifs can actually be reused to create new designs that are quite interesting and sometimes can be quite funky as well, by using some of the very powerful tools that this program offers. In particular, we're going to have a look at this idea of mirror copy and using the circle layout tool. So, to look at this pathing, first of all, this pink area here, it's a discrete piece. I'm just going to hide it out of the way because it's not part of what we're talking about really. So select them, right click, and then I'm going to put hide selected. Now, of all the remaining colours, I'm going to select them all and I'm going to put them into one single colour, which is the blue. So this now looks as it did to you when you were stitching it out. I'm now going to take it out of True View and put it into Digitizing View. I'll just bring it up a little bit bigger. And what we're looking at here are where we've got the jumps. All of the design is great. You've basically digitized all the elements of this, and then you've come up to this piece here. And you travel up here and there's one little mini jump there and another mini jump there. You can't avoid those because there are gaps there. They are small, they're probably not even noticeable on the stitch out. And then you've taken a bit of a walk right across to the beak here, and then this bit's got put in. And then you've gone from here and you've done the eye, which is a discrete element, so having a jump at some point is going to be necessary there. And then you've come out and you've put in each of these stars, which I can see each of them has gone in individually. My suggestion is that you may just use on that one a single run line in a digitizing motif. So digitize open line, go to motif, and in fact we can actually go to the embroidery gallery here and pick a star. Oops, I missed it. So easy to do. There it is. Let's see if that one will do. Let's just test here. Let's see. There we go. Now, you could put that line on there. It just becomes one object. You're still going to have the line in between. And if we actually look at your photograph, you can see they are still close together. Just means that you don't have all those jumps in there. It's actually got a stitch line across it. So that's a motif run line using that particular star. And then obviously you can do these little bits here. And what's happened is when you've finished here, you've then come across to this part and then you've finished the rest of the design all in one go. Now, all my suggestion is that you can actually cut out some of these little jumps here by perhaps considering the order in which you laid things down. Perhaps if you did this as a discrete section first, then come in at this point here onto the head, come across, do some of this detail here, come back over on that line. You can then do that step in to do the eye, step out of the eye, and then literally cover these pieces and then carry on with all the detail, finishing up with the outline. It just means then that you've not got these big hops across here. Even you can just walk around from that little part across there. It's not a problem, it's just another way in which you could go about doing it. You are always, with the flowers, going to have to deal with those down there. And if I take away the stitches in this design, you can see all these start and stop points on each of these little objects. You can get rid of the start and stop points on the star by putting those in with that motif run line. Just a suggestion. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Right, I'm going to use the undo button now to set it back to how it was before. I changed the colours. There we go. Now you mentioned that you have become a fan of that branching tool, and I can completely understand why. It is absolutely wonderful. And what you in fact did was you made these and you branched it, and you made these little sparklers and you branched those. You also did the square design on the top of the wings here and branched that, and you digitized these two elements yourself, these edging pieces, and you made those into branched objects. What you can do, of course, is that you can make your own motifs and fill there. And just to show you an example, that's what I did over here. I've done it in advance just to save a little bit of time, just to show you. That's a copy of the wing that you did, where you have your design and you did it all in a run line and then you branched it. Alternatively, you could have made that a closed shape and used motif fill number 2, and you get the same effect here. Similarly, when you did this zigzag line here, you have digitized it yourself and then you've used the branching tool. Nothing wrong in that at all. An alternative could have been to use a motif run line using motif number 27, or if you wanted a little bit more definition, you could have used motif 25. And for this line here of the squares, of course, you could have done a motif run line and used motif number 21. Just different ways of achieving the same thing, really. Next we've got your feather or arrows, the tail feather representation here. And one of the things that you can do with that is that you just make one little part of it, for example this part here, and you then make it into a motif, and then you can do your motif run line, and in fact you can make it any length that you want. If I actually do digitize open line and select the motif run line, I'm going to go to new demo motifs here, and you'll be able to see them there. Select the arrowhead line and let's just draw one here. There we go. Another way, of course, that you can do it is as you probably did, where you actually digitized it, branched it, and then you've copied it and pasted it and perhaps adjusted it as you've gone along. And then other items that you can do is this lollipop that goes all around the edge. In fact, that lollipop motif appears a number of times in the design. The sparkler, that makes a great motif. Off that abstract flower or leaf, whatever it is, taking those wings, making them into a butterfly even, either with the lollipop on them or without. Even the flower with the little disc in the middle, and you could do it with the disc or without. And each of these I've made into motifs. So how might we do that? Well, let's take this one here. I'm going to do Control D, which makes a duplicate, and put it down here. I'm going to turn it into a different colour. I think we'll do it as lime green, seeing as we've not used that colour already. It helps to do this at quite a high magnification, so I'm going to take that up to 500, and I'm also going to switch on the grid. I'm going to press the C key, which takes me to that particular object because that's the last item that's digitized, and I'm going to go into digitizing view. So there's the item. I'm going to select it, this object, and then I'm going to go to Advanced Digitize, and I'm going to go to Create Motif, and I'll call this Wings 3, Wings 3, and I'm going to put Remove Functions, which means then that it'll come up whatever colour I actually select at the time when I'm digitizing. Now, you can't click away at this moment because it isn't quite finished. We have this thing that's called a baseline, and on this one I'm going to put it here, and it's a reference line for the program to know where I do it. I'm just going to press the Control key so that I get it absolutely straight, and then I'm going to put it on this dot here. There we go, and it'll tell me pattern Wings 3 has been created in the category New Demo Motifs, and I'm going to select OK. I'm now going to delete that because I'm running out of space, and I'm going to go motif stamp, and we'll pick up wings 3 and OK, and here we go. I just click enter and it puts it in. I can click with my left mouse here, and if I want then I can actually rotate it into position and click again. I'm then ready with the next one, and that's using the stamp tool. Let's go back down to the 1-to-1 here, and let's just put that back into 3D True View. So that's how easy it is to make a motif. This one here, as you can see, I made earlier on, that one works either as a stamp or as a line. These I made as stamps, which again you can use them in this way. So if you want to use a motif stamp, it's under Advanced Digitize, and in fact you don't have to just use the ones that you use, any one of the others in there, the embroidery gallery. You'll have candle wicks as well, I think. The embroidery gallery, a lot of these are stamps. You can look at it in that view, or you can look at it in outline view. Very nice to be able to do that. Now, one of the reasons why it's so efficient to make your own motifs and use them is not only in the digitizing of a design, which saves you having to keep copying them or redigitizing similar shapes, it also means that you're actually setting yourself up with a library that you can use as a resource for making other designs. For example, I'm sure now that you can recognize a pair of wings and a lollipop, and all these are exactly that item. This one's had an outline put around it just to add to it, but as simple as that, 2 wings and a lollipop, reusing them in all sorts of interesting ways. So how might we do that? Let's take this, I'm going to Control D and move that up here just so that we've got a little bit of space, and I'll turn it into a different colour that we haven't used so far, and I'm going to increase the magnification up to say 200 here. Just collect this up here. I need to come over. Here we go. And that's the object here, just for my own. I want to select it and just bring it down to the end to the last. Right. I have this. Now the reason that I did that is that I actually want to ungroup it. I can right click and select ungroup. Alternatively, I can put the Control key and the letter U, and that will do the same thing. And the reason that I wanted to do that is that I want to select these 2 wings here, and I'm going to go to, just move this object properties out of the way, create outlines and offsets. Now this will be an outline around the object, and this is an offset outline, i.e. an extra one, and I've just put that I want it 3 millimeters away. That all that means is that that outline is going to be offset 3 millimeters from this outside edge of this object, and I'm going to click OK, and the program puts it in automatically. I'm going to take away that one because I don't want it, and I'm going to take away that one. These are just run line stitches that are in there. I'm now going to go into digitizing view, and I'm going to select this one, and I want to go into reshape because I'll just take this off, and I want to bring this down here to make it into a little bit of a heart. Okay, and I'll move that node down onto this one here and put one in here like that there, and I'm just going to put this onto here. It'll move its way back in on that, so that gives me a little heart shape, but that at the moment is a run line, and I'm going to change it to a motif. And what motif do I want? I don't want one of those. Don't want that. I want, out of the embroidery gallery, and I'm going to just put this over here so that I can choose which one that's a bit big. That's a nice one. That's the one that we'll use. Okay, now click on X on that, it'll put it back in the tray. And when I've done that, I'm just going to click Escape. And I'll change the colour of that. Just highlight it and select the turquoise colour there. So that's given it a border there. And now I'll regroup it, the whole thing. So select that, and I'm just going to make this border at the bottom here, and Control G to group it. Now I'm going to go to the Layout tool, and we'll click Circle Layout. How many do I want in there? Let's just go with 5. Okay. Now I can move them around, and this is the sort of arrangement that I can do. I can put it straight, I can bring it in, and if I click the Control key I can actually make it come vertically. I can make it bigger or bring them in nice and close. Let's see how that looks, and then I'll just click the left mouse key, that's Enter, and then Escape. And let's go to 1 to 1 and move up, and there we have that design. Alternatively, I can take the last one of those, this one, and Control C, Control V, which is copy paste, lift it off, move it over here, and I'll rotate it around just to straighten it up a little bit. And how about this time, take it and do mirror copy horizontal and hit the Enter key. I can take both of those and mirror copy horizontal again, but this time let's say I want it this side, and hit the Enter key. And obviously the opportunities to play with this are endless. As you can see, I can do it with or without, so that's a little bit about how you can use an outline to add to a design. And obviously these layout tools, have a play, they're great, and it's a fabulous way to be able to make use of these motifs that you spent digitizing for other things. And all of them have come from your design, which you based on that Crayola Scandi Dove. And you did a beautiful job with it. Well done. I do hope that you try some motifs and use them on other things. Well, I hope that you found this video useful. I've enjoyed doing it.